Hello guys, I am back from another video on the deku was a animatronic. So, in the last video, after Izuku picked his hero name being the Phantom Hero, or should I say, Spectre Hero, Spectre Hero, Phantom Ghost, and also picking his agency being the agency of a really not so famous hero by the name of Fang, aka Ryuji. When Izuku gets there, his internship, or should I say his agency, was not really that famous, but it is famous for being in the site where William Afton did his killings. And so Izuku did some patrolling and also a bit of talking until almost the last day, where Izuku encountered the Springtrap cult, and including Vanny, riding on this gigantic animatronic creature or whatever, as Izuku followed them and was brought to their, headquarters. Izuku looked around and see mementos of William Afton until he gets to a large door, and that large door was foreshadowed after after that episode, because I told all of you guys in the last episode that this door contains something terrifying, and so now we're going to finally explain what it is. Now, let's talk about what happens next. So, Izuku sees a gigantic rabbit head. Look, it actually looks like the original costume that William Afton used during his first killings, specifically the 5 killings back in 1993. And when Izuku saw that, Izuku was horrified, as Izuku sees blueprints saying that they're going to be using it to revive William Afton, and that head was one of the parts that will make up his body. As Izuku says this is crazy. As Izuku grabs the blueprints, as Izuku looks over and sees Vanny. Vanny with a creepy ass smile. As Izuku just says this, Vanny, so you're making this creature or whatever, trying to, as she says this, yeah, that's right. Now, I think it's better for you to run. And because you have that blueprint over there, well, we don't need it anymore. We already got the things ready, and besides, the animatronic head over there is finally finished. And there's no way that you're ever going to destroy it. It's made from special types of metals that we stolen from the, I can't remember that company's name though, even though it's famous for making top tier, hero gear. Whatever. Now, start running. As Izuku starts flying away, while for the rest of these, worshippers of William Afton, they say this, Vanny, what we're supposed to do? He got the blueprints, as she says this. Oh, don't worry. Besides, our master is going to come back home and bring forth despair to these people, just like what they did to me. How they treated me just because I'm quirkless. And then I met him in that place. That was the first time I actually met him, when I was blessed by his great and powerful wisdom. Now, with this power, we shall bring this world to its knees. Now, shall we? As she smiles, as several gigantic robotic parts resembling the original costume of William Afton back in the day when he started his, killing spree, as she says this, and now people will know fear and despair. So, when Izuku came back, it was finally the end of the, wait for a second, finally the end of the internship. And so, Izuku came back to school. As Izuku Izuku goes to the principal's office, as Izuku showed them the blueprints. Izuku explained how he found this blueprint during one of his internships. As he says this, being Principal Nezu. So, if it's true, then we should start preparing. As one of them being Aizawa says this. Yeah, this spring shop cult seems to be pretty adamant of summoning William Afton back. Even if that's true, then wait for a second. As Izuku just says this. I mean, it is true, look at me! I'm literally a ghost. As he says this. Yeah, I mean, it is true, so as All Might says this. So we need to stop them immediately. Principal Nezu, we should call in the other heroes and as he says this. No, we should not start a commotion here. We should just calm down and just don't worry. Besides, we have some plans to take down this, William Afton clan or whatever. As Izuku just says this. Then what is it? As he says this. Well, training. As Izuku just says this. Training? We should start doing it right now. We should try and take him. As he says this. No. Training first, fighting second. So, we're gonna be starting off our, final exam. So, I think it's better for you to just, do whatever you want. But, just don't worry. Us heroes, and the rest of the heroes here, are gonna be stopping William Afton's revival or whatever. Okay? Good. As Izuku just says this. Fine then. So, wait for a second. And so, they start getting ready for their final exams. Everybody's excited, including Izuku, but Izuku still knows about this, revival of William Afton, and he's kind of afraid. Seeing all of his friends that he made finally going to die, it scares him. But Izuku keeps calm and gets ready for the, wait for a second, gets ready for the, the final exam. And so, Izuku sees that they're going to be fighting against each of their teachers. And in Izuku's case, he's going to be fighting against All Might. And his teammate, instead of being Bakugo, it's Reiko. As Reiko says this. Oh, Izuku, I didn't know that you, are going to be my teammate. As Izuku just says this. Yeah, me neither. So, let's do this. Let's do our best. As Reiko says this. Right. So, Izuku steps out wearing his hero costume. Not really hero costume, I meant my, his animatronic, suit. As Reiko says this. Hey Izuku, why do I see something reddish over there in your mouth? As Izuku just says this. Oh, it's nothing, I swear. Izuku just starts closing up his, animatronic mouth, and just closes it instantly. As Izuku just says this. It's nothing, as she says this. Okay. And so, All Might says this. So, are you ready, kids? As Izuku just says this. Ready. As All Might says this. Very well. Now, ready, get set, fight! As All Might starts charging towards Izuku, wait for a second. Sorry about that. So, Reiko starts going to the finish line. As for Izuku, Izuku started fighting, All Might, using his axe as a weapon. Typical. As All Might says this. This axe, how's this super strong? Wait for a second, As Izuku just says this. So, you're wondering why my weapon is this strong when it's usually just normal metal. As he says this. How did you know that? As Ezekiel just says this, well, I technically have a ghost quirk, so I can easily just read your mind. As he says this, then ask me. As Ezekiel just says this, well, the axe is actually made of like a titanium alloy, mixed with some powerful metals and a bit of like Damascus steel. But it doesn't really show that well, Damascus steel part, I guess. As he says this, very well. Not bad of an answer, but as he starts charging up, as he says this, Detroit Smash! As Ezekiel starts running away, JoJo style. As in, like, going as fast as he can. As Ezekiel gets ready to jump towards the finish line, as All Might jumps in, as he kicks Ezekiel and brings him back to to the starting line. As Ezekiel starts running away again, as All Might starts throwing down, debris at Ezekiel. Ezekiel decides to just do this. So, Ezekiel just abandons his, animatronic body, while All Might accidentally, crushes it. As Ezekiel permeates through him when he tries to get him, as Ezekiel gets there as he was declared the winner, with, Reiko right beside him. And so, the rest of, Class 1A is basically just like in canon. One of them is basically, not allowed to go to the... Wait for a second. One of them is not allowed to go to the, to the training camp. But Ezekiel gets there as well. And so, Ezekiel starts preparing for the trip. So, the next day comes as it's finally time for them to finally go to the, to the training camp. Wait for a second. So, as everybody was finally, getting ready to go to the, training camp, they started packing all of their things as they put it on the bus as they started moving. So, they were looking around the, forest as they stop at a large clearing, which they decide to get some rest. As Ezekiel sees 4 people right in front of them, as one of them being a woman with cat ears, as she puts her hand onto the ground as they start falling down. Everybody was screaming, but some of them had quirks that could easily be used as a flying quirk, as everybody was using their quirks to basically start flying or saving each other and things like that. Ezekiel just floats as his robotic slash animatronic body flops to the ground. As Ezekiel just says this, I hope it's not broken. As Ezekiel goes in it, as it still works. And so Ezekiel started moving on to the, wait for a second. Going on to the, to the training camp. As one of them, being Ida, says this. Alright, I'll lead this trip first. As Ezekiel just says this. Yeah, I think it's better for you to just do it. And where's the map? As one of them, being Uraka, said this. Here's the map. As she starts looking around in her bag and pockets as she says this. I think I must have lost the map. As Ezekiel just says this. You lost the map? As one of them, being Bako, said this. Let me check. It's not here either. As Momo said this. I think I have the map here. As she looks around in her bag as she says this. It's not here. As Ezekiel just says this. Well, great, we're lost. As not Ezekiel, I meant Ida, says this. Don't worry, we should start going over there. Maybe the training camp might be in that forest. As one of them, being Kaminari, said this. Are you sure? As he says this. I am pretty sure. As a few hours pass by, as all of them, every single one of his classmates, including Ezekiel, started running away from a monster, being the earth monster created by one of the Wild Wild Pussycats, as Ida says this, "I don't got this," as he starts running away with Izuku and the rest of his classmates. A few hours have gone by as they made it to wait for a second, to the training camp, as Izuku just says this. Uh, uh, what time is it? As one of them said this. I think it might be, 7. As Izuku just says this, so we're past dinner. As one of them said this. Yeah, pretty much. As one of the Wild Boat Pussycats introduced themselves, as they say that they're sorry for making them, terrified for their lives. As Bako said this, "You literally left us in the forest, making us feel like we're going to be abandoned. How the hell are we that considerate?" As Izuku just says this, I mean, I agree, but it might be training for us if, in case we're going on a mission about, going into the forest or something. As everybody was given dinner, wait for a second. As everybody was given dinner, Izuku started getting some, rest. Decided to get some sleep, I meant. And so Izuku starts going to his where his animatronic body is in. As Izuku doesn't have a roommate or a sleepmate. And so Izuku decides to sleep alone. So Izuku goes into his animatronic suit and goes to sleep. And so the next day comes. The next day comes as they started doing some grueling training. Izuku started doing some training on his, fighting, using his axe as, as a weapon. Typical for an axe. So, Izuku started training on using his axe better by slicing down some trees. As one of the Wild Pussycats, which I think his name was Tiger, I think? Yeah, Tiger. He starts asking if Izuku is ready to fight him. As Izuku just says this, "Ready." And so, they start fighting. Class 1B arrives as they see Izuku fighting, wait for a second, Tiger, as one of them being, Reiko, sees Izuku fighting as she thinks that sorry. As she says this to herself, "Whoa, Izuku's kinda cool." As one of them being, wait for a second. Actually, I don't know her name. It's the mushroom girl from, Class 1B. She says this, "So you're interested in Izuku? I think I should call the police for that." As she says this, "No, no, no, no. I mean, he looks like a kid, but he's technically, the same age as us." As one of them being, Tetsu says this, "Wait, he's the same age as us?" As she says this, "Yeah. Apparently, Class 1A says that Izuku is technically the same age as us, even though he looks like that." As one of them being, Monoma said this, "So, he's the same age as us. Heh, whatever." As for Kendo, she says this, "He's the same age as us, even though he looks like that. Maybe it's because of his quirk?" As one of them, being Tetsu, says this, "I think so. But he's still pretty fast." As Izuku defeats Tiger in a few minutes. After that grueling training, they decide to make dinner with Class 1B. But let's just say, both, wait for a sec, both I meant, Monoma and Bakugo started arguing on who is going to be cooking. As Izuku just sees the commotion, Izuku was going outside and started cutting up some wood. As after Izuku gets some wood for the fire, they started cooking up a simple stew. It was absolutely funny seeing Bakugo and, Monoma fight. As Izuku meets, Koda. Koda says hi to Izuku as she says this. I meant he. He says this, "So, you're the same age as me? Even though you're from high school?" As Izuku just says this, "Are you saying that I'm a kid?" As he says this. I mean, yeah, you look like a kid. Like the same age as me. As Izuku just says this. Well, I'm technically older than you. I'm 15. As he says this. So you're a midget. Izuku gets a bit mad, and Izuku just says, say that again or I'll punch you right in the face. As he, starts spraying Izuku in the face with water. As Izuku just says this. Are you serious? As he says this. At least it's better than kicking your nuts. As Izuku just says this. Don't you dare. So, after that little encounter, they decide to get some go to sleep. Like, get some shut-eye, I meant. And so, they go to sleep. And so, the next day comes as it's finally nighttime. And nighttime is going to be their special event. Being the... wait for a second. The test of courage. Where they're going to be going into the forest, and some of the teachers are going to be scattered around, like all around the forest, scaring them, and they're going to be trying to not get afraid. And so everybody started going into the forest. So Izuku was paired up with Reiko because the two ghost quirk users are perfect for each other, eh? And so Izuku and her start moving into the forest. So, while they're in the forest, Izuku felt a bit, weird with, her right by his side, as she says this. So, Izuku, how did you met, Aizawa? As Izuku just says this. Well, I met him during one of my, rampages, I guess. As she says this. What do you mean by rampages? As Izuku just says this. Well, this is actually quite a secret. I'm really a ghost. As she says this. Do you mean that you have an actual ghost quirk, or as Izuku just says this? No, I'm dead. As she says this. Oh, you're joking, right? As Izuku just says this. I'm only telling you this because I kind of trust you. The reason why I look like this is because I was killed by William Afton when I was 8, on my 8th birthday. As she says this. Wait. Do you mean that William Afton? As Izuku just says this. Yeah. I was killed during when I was, 8. And then, when I woke up, I was turned into this. My body was stuffed in the animatronic that I loved. But over the years, my body felt rotten and broken down, and so I replaced some of my parts. That's why my animatronic body looks mishmashed. As she says this. Oh my god. As Izuku just says this. Yeah. Back in the day, I thought all adults were just bad people. But when I met Aizawa and the rest of the people, including Class 1A, being my classmates, I changed. I felt happy with them. I felt peace. As she says this, Izuku, as they hear the sound of rumbling, as one of them sees something in the distance, as they see a man with black hair and scars all around his body, similar to Izuku's animatronic body, with his whole stitching and stuff over there being the metal staplings on them. As he says this. So you're the kid. Huh. I didn't know that you were actually a kid. Anyway, so we're here to capture you. And for you over there, just leave us alone. As he starts creating blue flames, as Izuku protects her, being, Reiko. As Reiko is escaping, as Izuku takes the damage because he's dead after all. Izuku starts coming closer to him as Izuku just punches him right in the, family jewels. As, well, the man says this. That was a low blow. As Izuku just says this. Sorry, but you're a villain, so Izuku just knocks him out by kicking him right in the face. As Izuku starts looking around and sees several villains started terrorizing the, training camp. And so, Izuku starts going to his animatronic body and decides to try and find Koda. And so, Izuku starts going into the mountains, thinking that Koda is probably there, after hearing a few, wait for a second, a few, talks from, Koda and her, being, the aunt of Koda, saying that she should, protect Koda at all costs. And in case of this type of emergency, he should start going to the mountains and start hiding in the caves. As Izuku starts going to the caves, as Izuku sees Koda getting strangled by a man with blonde hair and one red eye. Wait for a second. But he also seems to have muscle fibers all around his arms, as he says this. So, I'm guessing that you're the kid. As he looks over and sees an animatronic, as he says this. The hell? Why is there an animatronic here? I didn't remember any pizzerias staying over here, or anywhere around here. As Izuku starts coming closer, and slices, or tries to attack, this man, as he says this. Dang, this thing seems to be fast. As he says this. Hey, you freak show. Try and fight me. As he starts growing more muscle fibers. As Izuku, in this animatronic, body says this. With pleasure. As Muscular says this. So you can talk. This will be fun. Seeing you cry. Or even if you can cry. As Izuku starts charging towards Muscular, as Muscular starts charging towards Izuku, this will be the end of the episode. Sorry. Sorry, this will be the end of the episode. But in the next episode of this What If, I'll certainly make the fight amazing for you, amazing for you guys. And so, this will be the end of the episode. So, I hope you liked the video. Comment, subscribe, and like the video so you can support me and my channel. And I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!